Hello all. Alright, when I last left you, I had set up these warehouses. Let's go ahead and take a look at these. I'm going to pause it real fast. So I had set up these couple of warehouses by Charlotte, and but I didn't have any of the trains on. So now I've got plenty of trains. They're filling up both of these warehouses, chocked full, and they are feeding Washington, Charlotte, and Atlanta. So both the warehouses are going to all three cities, as well as all of these freight. So all of these freight, as you can see, we've got, this train is filling up, and then it's got a couple of trains waiting. Over here, we've got four trains. Over here for this dairy, we've got four trains. We've got trains going back and forth to Washington. The vegetables are going. And then as you can see, they're both being fed into Charlotte. They're both being fed into Atlanta and to Washington, D.C., as well as all of these resources up here, the cotton, the wheat, sugar, and wood. So, and this is in an attempt to get them to grow, because that task of getting up to 100,000, 15 cities with 100,000 population is my toughest task on this challenge. All right, so that's going. Now, the other thing that I did, and I didn't do it on the video, is I ran, because as you can see, I have like $32 million. I have a ton of money. I was thinking it might be easier to get from Washington to San Francisco if I go through the Chicago route. And so what I did is I ran a line from Chicago straight out to San Francisco. As you can see here, it's just one giant train line. It cost me millions of dollars, but it's worth it because it shortens the trip. So all the train lines that I had on that other route going through the south have now switched to that higher one. And they're all coming through here, and it's just being fed in. That way, there's a lot less stops. The one thing that I haven't done actually is put in supply towers. So I'm going to go ahead and throw in supply towers along the way. Can't put one there, but I can put one right there. And this is just to, I have plenty of money, so it doesn't hurt to go ahead and throw in a bunch of extra ones for what it's worth. Alright, so those are good. I think I'm going to put one here too. I never had one there. Also, maybe I'll put one over here. Alright. Let's see it. I don't think I ever got one here either, so we're going to throw one there. Oh, it looks like I actually missed quite a few up here, so I'm throwing in a bunch there. Mostly for the city-to-city ones. The freight trains I don't worry about all that much because if the freight lines slow down a little bit, I'm not terribly worried. But the one thing I am going to do is I'm going to extend or clone a couple more trains going out to DC, because as you can see, we're already April 1868. I have to have all of the tasks finished by 1870, so I'm definitely not there yet. And as you can see, here are our tasks. 5 railroad stations with an attraction. I just need one more. That's not a big deal. Transport 1,000 passengers from Washington to San Francisco. We're only at 569, so I really need to get that going. The tools are being built. I'm going to work on the tools next, but I do want to clone that. So I'm going to go here where the line to San Francisco. And as you can see, that's all that's going in between those cities. So I'm going to clone that 5 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I know probably putting them all at once is probably a bad idea. I should kind of sparse them out a little bit. But, eventually they kind of, do make their own way around. That one's... Oh, you know, I never realized that that is a freight train. Let's see if we can give it a new locomotive with better... that helps a little bit. Still not super fast, but it does help some. Those are freight trains, and they're a little bit slow in between the cities. So, all right. So that is going. As you can see, Washington is growing. It's doing well there. Charlotte is growing, but it's still not there yet. But it's at 99. So, you know, 24 for Atlanta. So those are weak ones. You know, I think I might throw in stakes here, and that way when the trains come back from Atlanta, they can bring stakes with them and toss stakes into that warehouse. And then when the trains go to Charlotte and to Washington, they can take some stakes with them from Atlanta. So now Atlanta's doing actually pretty well. They've got 21 stakes. They're pretty filled up on stakes. They've got plenty of everything that they need, so they are growing. All right, so Nashville is stagnant. It's not growing. It's only got a fulfillment of 60%. I need to increase that. So some of the things that it needs are dairy, corn, sugar, fabric. Memphis, how are you doing, Memphis? Memphis is also stagnant. Again, sugar, dairy, fruit, vegetables, all those good things. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to create a warehouse. We're going to kind of toss it in the middle here. I'm going to use this to feed both Memphis and Nashville. Now I do see there's a fruit line across the way. That's good, because in this case we're going to do fruit, wheat, corn, dairy, sugar, and probably wood. Although the wood may not be necessary. Memphis doesn't need wood because it does have wood coming in. Nashville could probably use wood, but it's so close to that Anderson logging that it probably doesn't have wood as a necessity, so maybe we won't bring in wood. So let's see, what are the things that we do need? So I do have the cattle. Actually, I don't have cattle going into Memphis. It may not be needed. I'll double check that though. But they definitely need dairy, sugar, corn, wheat. So I am going to run all of those in. The one thing it actually doesn't need, I'm going to go ahead and put in a small train station here. We'll go ahead and run in the cattle. But then in this case, for this corn, I'm just going to expand the station. For this dairy, I'm going to expand the station. The sugar, I'm going to expand the station. That way I can run those straight in there. It's actually quite easy. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of these. So that one's done. Where's that one? Expand that one. Expand that station. That one doesn't need to be expanded. And then I'm going to come down here and we're going to select. So we're going to select wheat, cows, corn, and then sugar and dairy. And then fruit. I'm going to run fruit over there as well. That was the other thing. Okay, so let's get all these maxed out, and then I can start running my lines into that warehouse. So one thing I am going to do is to get a hopefully I'll be able to get this to jump the tracks, or to go underneath it so I can go to the warehouse. We'll see what it looks like. All right. Might as well start here since I just built this one. Yeah, that was able to work. That worked out well. Okay, so we are going to put this, I'm going to put it into the middle there, like that. But you know, I don't have enough track here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to loop it around like that. Well, why is it not? Oh, you know, that's probably because it's too close to the edge, so it won't do a bridge right out of the station. Huh. Okay. Here, let's do it this way then. Yeah, no matter which way I go, it just won't let me do a bridge right out of the station. Okay, that's all good. I'll just have to double it up right there. That's not an issue at all. I'm going to come down a little bit. I don't know why that's not giving me the green light. Oh. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we can build that. Let's get the sugar coming in. Which one is the empty one? That's the one. Alright, let's get that built. There. Got that built. Let's get the dairy line. Let's see, that's the empty one. That build. Okay, this corn is coming in. Let's see, which one is the empty one? It's this one here. Alright, let's loop around our cattle guy there. Now each of these, I've got plenty of money and space, so I'm not going to double up the lines. So each of these resources is going to have their own line coming into the warehouse. That will help tremendously, help with the flow of traffic in and out of the warehouse. Alright, so we got all that. So that's good. So we've got all the lines, let's see, running into the warehouse. Now we need to hook up the warehouse to the city. So we've got one from Memphis going in. Here, it'll probably be easier to do it this way. Okay, so we got that. That looks good. Let's make our double line. Oh. Okay, got that. So our other one is Nashville. Now, we actually have two lines here, so I could theoretically put in both. I might do that. Where is it? You know, so just go ahead and run that other second line straight into this one. Okay, so we're good. We've got Atlanta, we've got Nashville set up. Nashville and Memphis set up out of this warehouse, as well as all the resources. The same thing though, I need to go in, and actually let's do this first. Let's go ahead and put in our signaling. We can do that while the clock is still stopped. There's nothing more frustrating than putting in your signaling and then accidentally okay, so this one is not going to... I'm going to have to go back in and fix that track. I'll do that in a second. Let's finish up with these. But what I was saying is there's nothing more frustrating than putting in the signaling and getting the signaling wrong and then having to go back and either delete either the whole line, or you delete each individual signal, or you have to go back in and change the signal direction, and I've done that so many times. Alright, I think we're good on that. The only one that I have to fix is this one. It's really overlapped the track quite a bit, so we're gonna delete that second line and we're gonna reconnect it. And it's got to be like right there. So we got that. Put it right there, and then we'll just fudge this one up a little bit. Oh, it's totally not going to let me do that. Huh. I wonder why. It keeps wanting to hook up to the other tracks. Alright, so if I do it there, it lets me do it just fine. Let's see, it's going to be about right about there. Alright, let's see if that was any better. So those are nice separated lines. So we've got that. I mean, I can only have like 2 extra trains on that track, but 2 would be fine. That's not that big of a deal. So that would allow me to have a total of 3 trains coming from the fruit. Alright, so I think those are good. So now I'm going to start down here with the corn, and I'm just going to start putting in my trains. Now when I add trains, the calendar starts again, so I need to get them in there right away before the clock keeps ticking, because I don't have a whole lot of time. So Parker Manor to Warehouse 16, 8, and then we'll put 4 trains in. 2, 3, 4. Actually, I changed my mind. I put in 5. So for this one, and I'm going to construct a building. For this one, I am going to put in just 4. Probably don't even need that many, but 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if I build a... Oh, yeah, that was already a station. That one's already got a maintenance building, so let's put in our train. So dairy into the warehouse, 8, and then I'm going to probably put in 4 there too. So 1, 2, 3, 4. For sugar, Harris Estate to warehouse. Make it full, and I'm going to I'll probably put 5 into sugar. I feel like they need a lot of sugar. And I have plenty of space for the lines to back up, so let's do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now for the fruit, gotta construct our maintenance building. This one I can only get 3 in. I don't know why I keep going down. Alright, so there to there. Make it a full car, and we've got 1, 2, 3. Alright, so now the only thing left is to get trains that are taking goods from the warehouse to Nashville. And it'll just take whatever's available. And we're going to clone that, so 2 trains going back and forth. From there to Memphis. And again, it'll take whatever it wants. Got 2 of those. Oh. Now I gotta wait till it pops up so I can clone it. So we got one taking some milk to Nashville. The next one's taking milk and sugar, so that's good. I gotta wait for that Memphis one to get on there so I can clone it. There we go. It's taking fruit. We're going to clone that train. All right. So all of these are now growing, or they should be, because they're starting to get their stuff. So, okay. So those look good. Nashville, I'm sorry, Atlanta is still growing. It's got a 91% fulfillment, so it's really just going to take time. Charlotte, same thing. It's just going to take time to get them going. Washington, Washington's hit my 100,000, so that's awesome. You know, I could go ahead and put in a dressmaker here, and that way it produces fabric and dresses. I generally like to do that, so let's go ahead and do that. And then I do want to see the Charlotte to Washington. Now that's a passenger only. And that's probably passenger only. Yep, it is. So I don't, at this moment, I don't have any freight trains going between Washington and Charlotte. So I'm going to add a freight train going between Washington to Charlotte to Atlanta, back to Charlotte, back to Washington. Now what this is going to do, and I'm going to make it a freight only, and it's going to take any freight that each of those cities needs, and mostly it's to take the dresses and the fabric out of Washington and load them up onto the others. Now I do own the tailor. I don't own that weaving factory. They would expand if they got more cotton. I don't know if they're getting enough cotton, or maybe they're just, as it's coming in, it's being used up. But we do have 4 trains. 2 of them are cotton only. So let's see. Now the Nashville could also use fabric, because they are a dressmaker as well. But nobody around here is making fabric except for Washington. So I could bring it in from Washington, but I'm not sure. Or San Antonio. This looks like San Antonio. Now on this one, instead of building an attraction, I know that's one of the tasks, I'm going to build a museum, because it's gonna help grow the city a little faster. And as you can see, that's my biggest thing right now, is getting him to grow. Now Odessa needs to make liquor. It is growing, but it would like some sugar. So I'm going to look and see if there's any sugar about that I could send into, because I don't think that warehouse holds sugar. Now this warehouse has sugar, and let's see, it should be, oh, there's only 1 train going into Odessa from there. I'm going to duplicate that and make it 2 trains, just so it can bring some extra sugar. Alright, so Houston, you're doing well. San Antonio, you're doing well, although you could use some sugar. Cotton, well, the cotton is because you're building that. Lumber, liquor, cheese. Okay, Odessa has now I'm going to see what's in the warehouse, and maybe I can use, so here we see that there's 84 milks, so I'm going to put a cheese factory in here, in Odessa so that it makes cheese. And that's going to allow it... my own industry. So that's good. So that's going to allow it to make cheese, and that's going to fulfill another demand because it'll be good. Let me look at this. These tools, I'm going to go ahead and expand this industry and expand it again. So I've maxed it out. Again, I'm going to put in another museum because I want Memphis to grow. Okay, so while that's working, let me see. I think there's an attraction in San Francisco, which I want to leave. There's an attraction in Los Angeles, which I'm going to leave. Tucson has a museum, but it's already hit 100. I'm going to destroy that museum, and I'm going to put in an attraction. Just because that's one of my tasks. So now that task is done. Because I need the tools to sort of ramp up production. So let me get back to Memphis. And so they are starting to produce more tools. So that's good because I need them to get those tools being made. And they have plenty of lumber, plenty of wood, plenty of coal. They could use some more iron deposits. And there is an... Let's see how much these are... So these actually have the ability to produce, to send in more. But I do have 4 trains of iron going into Memphis, so I'm not going to worry about that just yet. I just want to make sure everything is growing. So Atlanta looks like it can start growing as well. Let me see what I could put into Atlanta. Let me see what are some of the needs. I mean, lumber is always a big one. Memphis is making lumber, but it's also doing that for the other things. So let's see. Lumber. I think lumber is probably my best bet. And what I'll do is I'll probably run an extra line of wood into Atlanta just so it can mass produce it. So let's do that. Let's put in a sawmill. And then let's build a warehouse in Atlanta to hold some wood. I might put it on this. Oh, I don't know if I can put it on that side. It's probably not going to give me enough space because the mountains are right there. I was going to try to get it in from Anderson Logging over there, but it's all good. I'll put it in right there, I think. Just trying to think. Well, no matter where I put it in, I'll put it in there. Now I'm just worried about where I'm going to bring in the wood from. There's here Anderson Logging, and then there's also this Brown Logging over there. I think those are my 2 closest. Now this one I'll probably need to expand it. Or actually, in all reality, I could just add another station right there. I'll put it in something like that. Put in a station right there, and then just run it over to that warehouse. I think that's my best bet. It adds extra line, but it's there already. It's not that big of a deal. All right, let's see. Is this gonna... Okay, so that worked. Now let's see if we can get it to go in. Okay, that worked. It's a combination of bridges and tunnels, but it worked. So I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Let's bring in this. The second one is going to come right in like that. Got cut off there for a second, but I'm back. All right, let's. So this one we're gonna do wood. I'm also gonna do lumber because I'm gonna send out lumber then to all the cities in the area. So once we get our lumber built up, we're gonna do that. I'm also gonna do this weird thing, which I've done before. I'd probably never be able to get those two to connect, right? No, that'd be too easy for me. Let's see, but never fear. We are gonna feed it into, where's our warehouse? It seems goofy, I know. It's almost like cheating, but I like to fill up the warehouse with goods. Oh, why is that no? Why is that? Oh, that's why. Oops, did I do that wrong? Oh yeah, I did. That's because I'm doing it this way. Alright, come on. I hate this automatic snap, it just drives me crazy. Okay, so we got those in. Now this is just so that I can feed lumber back into the warehouse, just so that it kind of forces it to grow. Oops. All right, so let's get some trains going in. From this logging into here. And I want a lot because I want to ramp up that production of lumber. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm also going to build a train from Atlanta to the warehouse. I know they're connected, but I just want it to pump in a lot of wood. So we're going to take all the wood that it produces, it's going to ship it over to the warehouse just to get it out of Atlanta, so that way we can actually store more in there. All right, so we've got that going. Now there is another thing that I want to do. And that is to run a line over to Nashville in case they want some, oh, I probably won't have too much there, but I can put one there. I don't know if that's a good idea to put a stop there or not, but we'll see. It might be enough. Alright, so I think those are good. Atlanta is still growing, but it definitely could use some things like fabric, cattle. It doesn't have cattle coming in, huh? I'm going to throw in cattle into this one as well. It doesn't hurt, it's right there, and it's super close and easy. I'm just going to expand this station. Then I'm going to put a line right there into there. Build that. Let's get that going. Fill it up, and I'll probably put like 2, maybe 3 trains. Might as well. At this point we're running out of time, so see how we're doing. We've got 9 cities up there. The tools, I'm getting worried a little bit. we're still at only 279. That's just over halfway. We've got a couple more years. I did ramp up production, but we actually do have plenty of tools. So I think what I might end up doing, and this is another cheat. I might put tools here. Actually, no. So tools are one of those things that once the city reaches, let's see, what is it? Oh, it doesn't tell me there. I think once a city reaches 105,000, it needs tools. So I'm gonna send a train full of tools. Actually, I'm not even gonna do that. At this point, I'm just trying to get done. So let's put in tools into this warehouse. That way I can just mass produce them and dump them into this warehouse, and then I'll worry about what to do with them later. Alright, so new train, freight, going from Memphis to warehouse, but priority tools. I think that's all. Now here, I don't want to take anything back, so we're gonna not take anything back. They might grab some steers because Memphis needs steers, but we'll worry about that. They may not. They might. Actually, they don't need steers at all. They don't make. For some reason, I thought that they were making beef, but they're not making beef at all. So they seem to be okay. Fabric is still one of those things that lots of cities need, and nobody is able to make just yet, except for Charlotte. Let's go ahead and dump it into Charlotte as well. It's not going to hurt. And I'm going to run some extra lines. Let's see. I think that's right. We do have those, but I'm going to run a couple of extras from here to here. Oops. And we'll make cotton the priority. I'll put 2 in there. Just out of curiosity, sometimes I like to look at my my company value as 129 million. I have 388 trains going. It's a lot of trains. 3,000 trail cars. 45,000 miles of length, 82 stations, 12 businesses. My goodness. As you can see, it's grown quite a bit. Let's go back. Tools, tools, tools. We need to make them tools. I also need to get passengers. Actually, let's go out and look at this line. So there's 15 total cars going. As you can see, each one has only like 1 or 2 passenger cars. That one's being serviced in San Francisco. But again, they'll just continually go back and forth until eventually... I do still think that we're going to meet that. I'm not terribly worried at this point. Okay, so Odessa, you've hit 100. Oh, El Paso, you're so close. What do you have coming in El Paso that you can produce? Nothing really, right? What could you need if you were to get something? Maybe beer. Maybe that's it. I just put a beer, a brewery. You could also use fruit. I don't think there's enough fruit coming in. Because I think this fruit is all going to warehouse 2. Let's go back and look at that. Now you've got plenty, so I'm going to actually throw in a train. from, I lost it already. From right here, just fruit going into, no, where was it? Was it El Paso? Into El Paso. We'll do 8 cars. Now, is this... Okay, that fruit line is actually empty. That, man. Los Angeles, once those cities get big, it's impossible to keep them fed because they just keep draining their resources. Now, let's see. Was this the warehouse? That warehouse is getting fruit as well. And as you can see, it actually has a lot of fruit. So I'm going to throw on a train coming out of this warehouse. Oops. If I can click on it. To El Paso with a priority of fruit. Just because it looks like it needs some extra fruit. Needs some help. Oh, we hit her. So El Paso's good. Tucson is good. Okay, let's see. At this point, tools, passengers, cities. Let's get the rest of the cities. Odessa, you're there. San Antonio, you're so close. Now that should help because it has the fabric, so it can start making dresses, which means it meets its fulfillment of demand and will increase its growth. So I want to see San Antonio is so close to growing. Houston, you're there. Memphis, oh, you're close. You're super close there, Memphis. Let's see, I'm looking to see what you have coming in. What's available to you. I think dairy farm. Okay, so you're close. You've got dairy coming in. You see. Nashville, you still need growth. Alright, so I am going to find, let's see, I think Charlotte. So Charlotte, I am going to do something crazy. Not really that crazy, it's hardly crazy at all. I'm going to pump you full of cotton. Oh, it's not going to let me. Let's see if I do a large train station. So I'm going to put this large train station that's attached to the cotton, and I'm going to run like 10 trains into this warehouse. Maybe not 10 trains, because that's a lot. But I'm going to run a bunch of trains from here. Oh. Okay, let's get back over there. From here to here. We're going to do full, and I'm going to put, let's see, we're going to do 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. And for now, this is just going to be cotton. I'm going to max it out because I am going to expand the industry. Expand it. Okay, so we're maxed out there right now. Mostly because we really need to get that fabric, cloth being made at record levels, and then I'm going to start shipping that cloth out to whomever I can. Now, Washington, how are you doing? You're at 162. You're there. Charlotte, you're not there yet. You're getting there. Atlanta, you're my weakest link. I gotta get you growing. You need cloth, you need dairy, you need beer, you need wheat. Let's see. I'm gonna run some trains, actually. Huh. Trying to find the best way. Okay, I'm gonna do this tricky thing. Oh, this is probably not gonna work. All right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go there to Atlanta. But I'm gonna have it preference that and wheat and then whatever else it wants. Yep. And then I'll put a second and maybe a third train on there. So it can start just draining whatever resources it needs out of this warehouse. The warehouse does have plenty of wheat, corn, sugar. It doesn't really have dairy and fruit. The dairy and fruit are not coming in fast enough. I'm going to buy this dairy farm, purchase it, and I'm going to upgrade, 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 upgrade. Now it's producing 100 or 16 per week. So, okay, you can see it's already 1869. I'm in panic mode. It's 1869. I'm in panic mode. I'm trying my best to get all of these last tasks completed. I think we're going to get there. I'm going to stop it for now. And on our next video, we are hopefully going to finish up into 1870 and get all those tasks accomplished. Passengers, tools, and our 15 cities. We just got a couple of cities left to get up there. I think Nashville, Atlanta, Charlotte, maybe San Antonio, or let's see, I think Houston was good. I think San Antonio needed to get there. Anyway, so we will finish up there, and I will come back in our next video and complete all 10 tasks and win this challenge. It's not looking great, but we'll see. It's a tough challenge. I told you at the beginning, I've played this 3 times. I've never beat it yet. I keep failing at it, so we'll try it again. All right, till next time.